We're listening to Count Richard Van Cooden of Calergy. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of June. Very nice day, crisp day it is too. About 17 degrees. Just outside the Medical Council here. And going to go up now and listen to some of the speeches. Thanks very much. Hey, good old Jerry.
And Dr Andrew Bridgen. We've already done it. Speaker who needs very little introduction, and that's Dr Marcus De Brun. Dr De Brun, whose titles include GP, microbiologist, philosopher. Dr De Brun was the general and sole practitioner running the Rush family practice in County Dublin since 2010. A graduate of Trinity College with a BA in microbiology, a member of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland and of the Royal New Zealand College of General Practice. He holds a degree in microbiology from TCD, a degree in English and Science in CSU, Sacramento, California, and an undergraduate in philosophy from Birkbeck College, University of Leicester. In 2018, he was appointed to the Irish Medical Council by the then Minister for Health, Simon Harris, a post which he resigned from in 2020, and I would like to hand you over to him now. Thank you.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Is that any better?
Thank you.
Apologies for that. Most of the time people don't want to listen to me back. But look, I'll try and keep this brief. But yeah, first I'd like to say thank you to everybody for coming out today. Many, if not most of the people here were aware that something terrible was happening back in 2020, and many of the people here have reached out to me and offered support and offered inspiration by their stories and by telling them how they can take all of this lying down and believe everything that they were instructed by the government, by institutions like I'm here today because there was supposed to be a hearing. I was put under investigation 5 years ago because I resigned from the Medical Council and I objected to what was happening in the nursing homes. So I'm not alone in that. There were several doctors put under investigation, and many are still under investigation for having and holding opinions contrary to government policy of the day. I was thinking last night, what am I going to say at this thing tomorrow that people probably haven't already heard me bang on about so many times? But I suppose it's about credibility, you know. I mean, I'm here today because this institution behind me took away my credibility 5 years ago. And they took away the credibility of any doctor who tried to warn people, who tried to offer an alternative treatment for people who were in the nursing homes, and tried to actually treat people who were dying. This institution behind me is supposed to be in the service of the public, it's supposed to be protecting the public, but in reality it's actually a policeman for the government. I do, and it doesn't operate on behalf of the public in any manner or means. it's very, very difficult to be in a position, you know, where you're I suppose you're looked upon by many of your colleagues as something of a pariah, you know. But and that's ostracizing, or that kind of marginalisation was conducted against by this institution behind it, by the Irish Medical Council. And I think that they have a serious case to answer for what they've done to me and what they've done to some of my colleagues. A lot of people have shaken my hand today and have reminded me that I'm courageous, and with all due respect, this is not about me, and I'm not here really, and I'm not that courageous, to be honest with you. But the courageous people, I think, are people like Dr. Jerry Waters, who actually went further than what I could do. I have a family and a mortgage to pay, so although I could resign from my practice and not give the vaccine when I became a locum, or I went to work in the out of hours, I was granted the liberty not to administer the vaccine. Dr. Jerry Waters was suspended for refusing to give it because he couldn't break the oath that he took when he graduated. There are some good people in Irish medicine, you know. But we've been kind of picked off one by one. This institution behind me has conducted what a word I came across, somebody told me, is a word called lawfare, which is where an institution uses its legal might and its infinite budget to attack people like myself and the other doctors whose medical insurance were not provided with legal assistance or legal advice, because we haven't harmed any patient, we haven't hurt anybody. We're here and we're under prosecution because we've disagreed with the narrative and disagreed with COVID policy. So I should be in there today and facing my hearing, but a couple of weeks before this hearing, the Medical Council contacted me and asked me if I was willing to make a deal. I suppose a lot of you know what's coming, you know? So they offered to make a deal, and I'll tell you what the deal was. The deal was that they would drop the prosecution against me, and I could carry on with my life as normal, on the condition that I sign a legal undertaking to no longer speak about COVID-19 vaccines, about government policy, or about the deaths in the nursing homes. Look, in all honesty, I wasn't terribly tempted to sign, but it did cross my mind. And I have to say, the other doctors, Jerry and Pat, put their doctor's hats on, and Billy, my brother, they all said to me, look, you know, signing this and getting out means that you're home and dry and you're free, you know. But there's something bigger going on here, and I think most people here today know that there's something bigger going on. And most people not here today know that there's something bigger going on. So what happens today is something that's going to build and grow. And build and grow into a demand for a full, open public inquiry, not the whitewash and the farce that we've been given, but a demand for the truth. While these institutions might have taken away my credibility, they certainly are not going to take away my voice. And they're not going to take away our voice. And they're not going to take away the voices of the people who were abandoned by the state in the Irish nursing homes. The thousands of elderly, vulnerable people who were denied testing, denied treatment. The only guidelines we were given to help those people was end-of-life care, midazolam, let them die. Comfort care. And I was thinking to myself in terms of what am I going to talk about, you know, but it struck me that if you were going to write a fiction, if you were going to write a story on how to murder thousands of vulnerable people in the nursing home sector, well, if you wanted to write that fiction, if you want the script, just go to the government.
Yeah.
Go to Simon Harris.
Yeah.
Go to Micheál Martin, because they wrote the script for the deaths of those people. It's time for accountability now. We're not going away. We're not going to stay quiet. And everybody here today, and everybody at home who understands where we're coming from reminds me and reminds my colleagues that they actually haven't taken away my credibility. My credibility is here, it's with you, and I thank you for coming out today.
I have to say, when he rang me the morning after we got the offer from the Irish Medical Council, I said, that sounds very tempting. And he said, it is in mine. Next up we have Dr Pat Morrissey. Dr Pat is a general practitioner based in Adair, County Limerick. He received his degrees from University College Cork. He holds a postgraduate diploma in family planning and child health. He held the position of senior clinical lecturer in UL Graduate Entry Medical School. Was a director at Shannon Dock, a medical director at Embury Close Sheltered Housing in Adair, and a member of the Royal College of General Practitioners of the UK. And he's also a member of the Primary Care Dermatology Society of Ireland. There's a lot of qualifications in there for these guys. So could you give a warm welcome to Dr. Pat Morrissey?
Thanks, Elaine, and Marcus, you're hard on to follow. I'm blown away by the crowd here, and thank you very much to everyone for coming, especially the ones that got closest to trainings and come from the
Sorry, can you speak louder, please?
Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was just saying thanks for everyone coming today. I stand here with Marcus and other good doctors of conscience, because people have to hear the facts and the truth must be set free. The Irish Medical Council has reneged on its purpose of protecting the public and ensuring high standards are maintained in the medical profession. Instead, it has become another example of regulatory capture. By this I mean outside interests and undue influence. It is being weaponised both by the state and the International Association of Medical Regulatory Authorities. I'm sure you haven't even heard of them. They are based in Dallas in Texas. These organisations above the Medical Council have weaponised the regulator of the profession to suppress dissent, or what we otherwise used to call scientific debate and individualised patient care. Never in the history of the Council has there been this number of doctors under investigation coming together and gathering public support to protest their persecution by the Council. Surely there are some in there that realise that something has gone seriously wrong. To underline the truth of our cause, let me just lay out some of the widely accepted facts at this point in time. The case numbers and the deaths were wildly inflated by a faulty and oversighted PCR test. This was done to justify the harmful pandemic measures and the subsequent mRNA injections. SARS-CoV-2 was an engineered virus, a result of gain-of-function research, and was offshored by Anthony Fauci to the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. The potential for other treatments with medicines such as hydroxychloroquine was known in March of 2020. In fact, I have an internal document from the HSC here that is dated the 24th of March 2020, an internal document sent to clinical leads that says hydroxychloroquine has been identified as having antiviral activity against SARS-CoV-2. There's sufficient rationale to include it as an antiviral treatment option and is included in the above guideline. Internal document. They purposely withheld this and other forms of early treatment from use in the one sector where it could have made a difference. That is, to people early in their illness who could have worked with their GPs. I know this because I treated many patients successfully this way in 2020 and 2021. NPHET's advice, instead, was to stay home, take paracetamol, and wait till you had difficulty breathing before calling an ambulance. Yeah, this guy said it. Treatment to those with COVID or the inevitable, how many lives were lost by depriving treatment to those with COVID or the inevitable secondary pneumonias that could have been treated if caught in time. The suppression of early treatment was necessary, though, for the rollout of the so-called safe and effective mRNA injections. Excess morbidity and mortality correlates in a Bradford Hill fashion with the rollout of the mRNA injections. This correlation is even specific to the rollout of the injections in specific age cohorts. I credit the great work of researchers and scientists such as Denny Rancourt, Ed Dowd, Theo Shedders from Holland, and our own Patrick E. Walsh, who've shown that excess mortality up to the end of 2024, We won't let the number be drowned in the applause, though. 22,000 people dead that should be alive.
It's great.
The real pandemic, though, began after the rollout of the injections and is ongoing. It is the rising tide of deaths and injuries, such as heart damage, clots, strokes, autoimmune, neurological disease, and now cancers affecting younger and younger people. I deal with the sad reality of this every day in my practice. Unfortunately, the doctors who pushed the shots and took them themselves can't face what they've done. However, the injured deserve honesty and options in dealing with their symptoms, not more gaslighting from the establishment. That's why we're providing support to the injured, even though we're few in number. We encourage other doctors to learn about the strategies that can work. Recently, a former government minister in Japan, Kazuhiro Haraguchi, disclosed analysis of his malignant lymphoma discovered a spike protein identical with the one in the COVID shot, even though it was over 2 years since he received such a shot. This correlates with the study from Yale, the LISTEN study, that also showed that many with now what's called post-vaccination syndrome are still producing spike protein more than 2 years later. We also know through the work of Kevin McKiernan and others that both the Pfizer and Moderna contained SV40, which is a known cancer promoter. This was not disclosed in the application documents. When we brought this to the attention of the HPRA, they shrugged their shoulders and essentially said, so what? This is an agency full of highly paid experts, paid by you and me, who are there to protect the public. Will the role of the HPRA and other agencies tasked with protecting the public be questioned at our much heralded and delayed COVID inquiry? Our group may be relatively few in number, but we are battle hardened after almost 5 years, and we're not going away. The evidence keeps mounting in our favour, not theirs. Our group has collaborated with researchers in Canada and Germany, demonstrating the same contamination issues seen internationally. We've linked with doctors, politicians. I welcome Andrew Bridgen here today. Thank you very much for making it happen. And Martin McGrath, and Peter O'Donoghue, other councillors, I can see you. We submitted the North Group letter to Simon Harris in November 2024. The same letter went to 24 heads of states and laid out the case to stop the shots due to this proven and replicated research on the contamination issue. We plan to submit an updated version to Micheál Martin. In spite of the intransigence shown by both government and healthcare agencies, we're not despondent. We witness the growing awareness every day among the public. We see the success of Robert Kennedy Jr. at Human and Health Services in the US. They have a long battle ahead of them, but they've successfully removed the COVID shots from the childhood schedule and moved it from recommended use to children and women. Here we have an amazingly talented group of researchers, alt media and organisers with us, and our links are growing internationally. We have a strong relationship with the Independent Medical Alliance in the US. In the UK, we're in frequent contact with Dr Tess Laurie in the World Council for Health. We also have friends in the Dutch and the Swedish medical freedom movements. That's all I have to say today. Thank you for sharing this journey with us.
He was the only MP to question the safety and efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines. It was his speech in Parliament in December of 2022 that stopped the UK government authorising the experimental jabs to healthy infants and babies in the UK. He was also the only MP to question the use of diazepam and morphine as a treatment for the vulnerable and elderly in care homes. And he was offered bribes and has been threatened, but he's still here and he's with us today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When I received the invite to come and stand shoulder to shoulder with your brave doctors like Dr Marcus De Brun, who is standing on his principles, standing on the real science and standing with the people, and more importantly, standing on the truth, I was delighted. And I take my hat off to the fact that he will not give in to the Irish Medical Council's gagging order. That's what it is. We've had exactly the same procedures have been carried out against brave doctors in the UK who've spoken out. The Irish Medical Council, like the General Medical Council in the UK, has taken money from the World Economic Forum's Regulators Pioneer Fund. They're bought and paid for, just like the Medicines and Healthcare Product Regulatory Agency and everything else. When I first spoke out 3 years ago, there were very few people listening. There's a lot more people listening now. And I remember I was told, you speak your truth. You see who hangs around. You found your tribe. Well, I found my tribe. And when I was thrown out of the Conservative Party, after decades of service, raising my concerns about the safety and efficacy of the experimental gene therapies, not one of my friends in Parliament contacted me. But within an hour, I got a phone call on my mobile from a US presidential candidate, and his name was Robert Kennedy. And he said to me in 2023 he backed me and that we were going to win, and I promised. But what I heard yesterday from Robert Kennedy, he removed the whole of the CDC vaccine package, who wrongly authorised the latest Moderna vaccine like they have so many times before. The tide is turning. The tide is turning. Politicians, the judiciary, and the police around the world have, over the last 5 years, have let Big Pharma get away with murder on a scale that the world has not seen. And so many people in positions of power have gone along with it because they thought they're unbeatable. We're going to see them panic over the next few months because the truth is coming out, and the unpalatable truth. And I know you can say any lie you want to in the House of Commons and the partisan crowds will cheer. But when you start speaking unpalatable truths, you end up eating your dinner on your own for 20 months because they won't talk to you. Well, they're going to be very sorry because the people are waking up now. And the reason I'm here is we're facing the same challenges in the UK, whether they're bombarding us now with uncontrolled migration. Yeah. That's because they're panicking. Because the truth is coming out. There's nowhere to run, ladies and gentlemen. Colleagues of mine will say, oh, I want to get out of the country. Where are you going to go? We have to stand and fight. We are going to win.
Yep.
Unity is strength. And when this madness is over, and I promise you, it will be over, we'll be able to build a better society and a better world than we've had before, one based on real science, real medical services, proper government representing the people, and peace between nations. Thank you very much for listening to me.
I just want to offer complete thanks to everybody and gratitude. I know there's a lot of people, I spoke to a lot of you before this, a lot of people have travelled from all over the country to come here, and it's much appreciated, and I hope that you know, this is the start of something we'll build from here, and yeah, thanks a million.
Everybody, thank you very much, and I'm sorry if people down the back couldn't hear what was going on or that, but look, you know, you've probably all heard everything that's been said here 100 times, and words really aren't important. What's important now is action. Important now is standing up to the institutions that have been captured by the government, to government that's been captured by pharmaceuticals and capitalistic interests. This is about us, it's about the people, it's about not forgetting what happened, and it's about having respect for the other people, for those of us who've been injured by the vaccine, who've been ignored and are continue to be ignored by the government and by the people. I just ask, there's a doctor who's not with us today, and he's a doctor who has a dear place in my heart. It's Dr. Martin Feely. Dr. Martin Feely, like many of my colleagues, I know for certain that Martin was a fighter. He was an Olympian, he was an accomplished surgeon, he was a very respected leader, and a very respected teacher, and a very respected doctor, and he was loved and respected, I think, by everybody who knew him. And if he was alive, he'd be here with us today, standing up here, saying what I'm saying, and demanding justice for the people who've been injured, and for the lies that we've been told, and the deception that many of us have been forced to swallow. So I'd like to offer a minute's silence in remembrance of Dr. Martin Feely, and in respect of the people who have been injured, who've been unfortunate to be injured by the COVID vaccine. If we could offer a minute's silence, and then after that I'm going to hand in the petition into the Medical Council that's been signed by almost 6,000 people in respect of kind of what's going on. And then after that we're going to walk down to the Dáil. Now I don't expect everybody to come, the roads might be a bit busy, but we're going to walk down to the Dáil and we're going to hand a letter in for whatever it's worth. Because our voices have to be heard and have to be listened to, and we're here today, and as I say, it's not so much about words, it's about being here, it's about standing up and taking a stand, and that's what everybody here has done today. So thank you very much. I'd ask for a minute's silence for Dr. Feely and the people who've been injured, and we'll kick that off. Thank you very much. Martin used to know the Latin phrase that he reminded reminded us when we'd be in attendance at our little meetings together and at our various efforts to try and bring the plight of nursing home victims and the plight of COVID policies and the victims of lockdown, to try and bring their case to the table. We would meet together on many occasions, and Martin had a little Latin phrase, and I'm no Latin expert, but a little phrase he used was nil desperandum. We shall not despair. We will stay the course, we won't be bribed, we will not be bullied, and we will not take this again. We'll keep standing up for the truth. So thank you very much.